If you've ever been told to be grateful for being overworked, if you've ever been promised a raise that never came, if you've ever watched someone else profit off your sacrifice while calling it experience, then this story is going to hit way too close to home, because here on Karma Writes Back. This is the moment my bosses realized that underpaying loyalty comes with a very expensive price tag. I picked up a hammer for the first time 6 years ago with absolutely no experience, no connections, and no safety net, just the belief that if I worked harder than everyone else and learned faster than everyone else, eventually someone would notice. So while other guys clocked out and forgot about work, I went home and studied blueprints, watched tutorials, learned building codes, and tried to understand not just how to do the job, but why things were done a certain way. After 2 years of this grind, I was promoted to foreman, and that's when my life became completely consumed by the company. Not long after that, they handed me what they called a small project, a 12-building, 120-unit condo complex that had already burned through 5 different contractors. The HOA board was angry, distrustful, and exhausted. Residents complained. Daily and expectations were low, but for some reason they trusted me, and I took that personally. I decided that this project would either break me or prove my worth forever. I was the first one on site every morning, and the last one to leave at night. I handled complaints face-to-face, fixed mistakes that weren't even mine, coordinated subcontractors, solved problems no one else wanted to touch. Slowly the HOA board's attitude changed. Meetings that once felt hostile became respectful, then appreciative, then almost supportive. Board members started telling me things like, "You're the most professional manager we've ever worked with, and we've never had a contractor finish anything on time and under budget before." Because of that single project, my company landed an even bigger contract, and over the next 3 years that small job turned into a $2.7 million project, and then a bid request for another $3 million job at the same complex. And by that point I wasn't just a foreman anymore, I was the superintendent, the project manager, the scheduler, the billing department, the material coordinator, the problem solver, and when the company didn't have enough mid-management, I was even training subcontractors on how to apply new products. All of this while working out of my own truck, using my own time, and telling myself that the sacrifice would eventually be worth it. The HOA board openly admitted they didn't trust my company as a whole, they trusted me. They said they had gone through 5 contractors before, finally feeling confident enough to move forward again, and that confidence was tied directly to my management and my quality control. Hearing that gave me the courage to finally ask for what I was promised, a raise that had been discussed a year earlier based on my performance. So I walked into the owner's office calm, professional, and prepared, and without even really looking at me, one of them said something I'll never forget. "The experience you're gaining is far more valuable than money." In that moment it felt like 6 years of effort were dismissed with a single sentence. I didn't argue. I didn't get emotional. I just nodded and said, "You're right." But that night at home the weight of disrespect sat heavier than exhaustion ever had, so I quietly updated my resume and made it public. Within days headhunters started calling. Interviews followed, and then an offer came in that completely changed how I saw myself. $80,000 a year, full benefits, 28 days of paid time off, including holidays, an office-based role instead of living in the field, a company laptop, Wi-Fi in my truck for remote billing, $80 per diem for out-of-state projects, 100% 401k matching for the first 3 years, and quarterly bonus programs. I looked back at my current situation where I was making $40,000 a year with no benefits, no bonus, and no future, and then came the final insult. During a company meeting, the owners bragged openly about how much profit my project had made them. And later that same week denied me a Christmas bonus. That was the exact moment something inside me shut off. Not anger, not rage, just clarity. That Friday I printed the offer letter and laid it on their desk. I watched their faces change as reality hit them. Suddenly the people who told me experience was enough started scrambling. But the real panic didn't set in until I informed the HOA board president that I was resigned. Gingning, his eyes widened immediately, and he told me flat out that he had serious concerns about moving forward with the new $3 million project without my involvement. He requested an emergency meeting with the owners because the truth was simple. They had no replacement for me, no one who understood the project, the board, or the history. And suddenly a $3 million contract was at risk. When the owners tried to come back to me talking about matching offers and future opportunities, it was already too late. Because the problem was never money, it was respect. And for the first time in 6 years I walked away knowing that I didn't get revenge by yelling or threatening. I got revenge by knowing my worth and letting the consequences speak for themselves. Because sometimes karma doesn't come screaming, sometimes it shows up quietly with a resignation letter and a massive hole in someone's profits. And that's exactly what happened when karma writes back.